back in the shop today. Nothing like drilling into a $500 guitar neck to make you check your measurements twice, 3 times, maybe 4. I am drilling out the socket holes to put in the metal sockets. They are 832 metal sockets for the bolts that are going to hold the neck on. I've just drilled the first of these, and I have my drill bit taped out and marked for the appropriate depth. I've done the first one. I have been checking my measurements in all directions repeatedly, and yeah, it's an interesting process. I am hopeful that these are all going to be straight enough that I can hit them directly when they drill through, because there is not as much forgiveness in the metal sockets as there is just with the wood screws going in. So we'll see how it goes. Well, it looks pretty straight. We will see. Now I need to put the sockets in. And now I just put the slightest countersink on that, just to make sure that we can get the inserts all the way below the surface. So the last step in this process is to install the sockets. There's a special tool that comes with them that you actually chuck in the drill press, and then you turn the drill press by hand. You don't actually use any of its power. Just use it to drive the thing straight in. These have very sharp teeth and cut their way into the hole with a tiny dab of glue on there just to help hold it when it gets in. I've done a practice one on a piece of scrap ash that seemed to work pretty well. So I'll try to get a close up here, and you can see one of these things going in. Well, bolts are in, the bolt sockets. Are they straight? Lord, I hope so. Next, I got to figure out how to get accurate markings on here to be able to drill through and get the holes for the actual bolts, and then the plate, of course, is going to go on the back. Well, this has been a little bit of an adventure. I could not have come up with this method for figuring out where to mark the drill holes in the neck pocket if it wasn't for Lee. She's such a clever girl. So what we've done is made a template of the neck pocket, put a piece of double-sided tape on there, put the neck in. That's now coming off. I can see through this template, and I'm going to mark the center of each of the sockets, and then we can peel that off, put the template back in, and we'll have the exact spot for where to drill. theoretically. Okay, transfer the template back over. I put the back plate on there just to see how it lined up, and they're all pretty much dead center on that. So I think I'm gonna give this a little push with an awl. Looks good to me. Guess we're kind of at the moment of truth here. I'm sure it's going to take a little bit of adjusting to get this in, but you know, things are looking like it lines up pretty well. Well, I always said you were going to see the good, bad, the ugly. This is ugly. Probably the worst one so far. One of the screws was a little bit tight, and in trying to back it out, it actually backed the threads out of the socket, and it's kind of stuck on there. The wood's fine. I'm going to have to cut that off and replace this and re-glue a new socket into the neck hole. All the other ones are fitting. One hole is just a little off. I tried to persuade it a little bit with a drill to just enlarge it slightly in one direction. And I think it just needs to go a little bit more. It's close enough, I'll get it. I'm confident in that. It's just a drag that I need to put a new socket in there and cut this thing off and do that without hitting the wood. Doable, but it's kind of late on a weeknight. So I think I'm gonna leave it there for tonight. This is the kind of thing that's probably best done fresh. Well, I'm back. It's the next day, and unfortunately, no little gnomes appeared in the shop overnight and miraculously fixed this problem. So I'm going to have to do that. I need to build a little shield here to cover the wood so that I can cut that screw off without any potential for damaging the wood. Get this thing cut off and rethread a new socket. Fortunately, I have plenty of those available. Yeah, what a pain. No guitar bodies were harmed in the making of this video, fortunately. Cut it off fine, got that extracted. I've already got a new socket installed in there, so that is all back to normal. Everything fits. Hopefully that is a chapter not to be repeated, and the neck is there. And actually, one last thought. I know what I would do if I had to do this over again, or get to do this over again to avoid this problem, and for anybody who is looking at this and trying to get information and contemplating what to do, my suggestion is if you order a neck, get it not pre-drilled. If this neck had come flat and not pre-drilled, I could have put the whole thing together, clamped it, drilled it through from the back, had exact dead center screw lines for everything without having to measure, and it would have been a heck of a lot easier. But I didn't know that. And, I knew when I started off, this was going to obviously be prone for an error here and there, and that's one of them. But if you're building a body from scratch, not using an existing pre-drilled body, and you're going to order a neck, get it undrilled. And that way you're not going to have to do any measuring to align any of this stuff, and it'll save you the headache that I just went through.